Today we're going to talk about Akaash Singh's not on-stage jokes, but a full podcast war that's been going on. It's very messy, it's very public, it's very, I would say, keep it at your home. But let's talk about it now. Before we start this video, which is going to be chaotic, I'm just going to tell you this video as well is going to be chaotic because my child is playing in the background. And yeah, so have fun. Start giving you my opinions about the tea, which is super public. Let's talk about the cast of this tea. Okay, so Akaash Singh is a podcaster, also a comedian. We all know that he's a podcaster of Flagrant, I think Flagrant 2 with Andrew. His wife went to NYU for business journalism, I think, and she has worked for like Goldman and Sachs, I think, and Goldman and Sachs, yeah, Goldman and Sachs, Deloitte, and like a lot of like she has a good resume. But then she moved into content creation. I think in 2023, she started her own podcast called The Main Character, where she talks about like her relationship very publicly. She has a co-host as well. Her name is I think Nihal. I think yeah. So this was the couple, okay? Akaash and Jasleen, they are doing their own thing. And there's this other podcaster who has nothing to do with them except for the beef and wait. Oh my god. Yes, honey. Are we okay? Okay. So he's also a podcaster. He, I think, is from Fresh X Fit or something like that, okay? His name is Myron Gaines. And he's basically like a very high value kind of man. I don't know. I don't agree with those thoughts. He's like a red pill podcaster, let's be real, okay? But he has some good points in this, so let's not totally discard him here. But they had a beef, Akaash and Myron had a beef in 2022 before Jasleen even started her podcast career, which was in 2023. Are we all caught up? Let's talk about the tea now. I'm so sorry. It's not Myron. I think it's Myron because it's O-N in the end. I don't know. I have not seen this guy. But I'm thinking it's Myron because it's Myron. So Myron. And like I feel body count is not a big thing for me. Like I have never once asked anyone in my life, be it a friend, be it my one boyfriend ever, I have never asked anyone ever that, hey, do you have a body count? How many? Or like, what are your experiences like that? I've never asked. I had a general idea, but I would never ask because I feel like when you're asking, it becomes like an insecurity thing you have. And if they answer, then it becomes more of an insecurity and it will like draw a wedge in your relationship, in my opinion. So I never asked my one boyfriend I ever had. And, I also think it's an obsession that it's not healthy, it's not good. I mean, like whatever happened in their past is their past. Like if you expect, I have commented this as well, if you expect someone to not stay in their past, like don't you go back, recall things in their past, you know what I mean? And even if you are like, okay, we're just like talking, we're going to know each other on a deeper level, I feel like even then it becomes like a fight afterwards. Because to me, I didn't want to know, but my boyfriend at the time wanted to tell me because he wanted to be open, and I told him while he was telling me that do not tell me these things, and he did tell me, and that became like I would take jabs at him like, huh, because you have so many experiences. So I mean, even though I didn't like think of him like that, I just like it became like a thing, not like a major thing, but like I would take jabs. That's what I'm saying, and like I wouldn't do that if I didn't know, That could be just my personal problem, okay? I don't know. And this is my personal opinion. Like, you shouldn't ask for body counts, even if you're friends with somebody, even if you're dating somebody, and like you'll be like, hey, Burma, you said once you got cheated on. Is this the same boyfriend? No, it's not the same boyfriend. I did get cheated on, but it was like, like puppy love, sweetheart love in school. Not in school, it was in college. I just didn't want it to sound like I was a late bloomer. It was in college. It was in college first year. But I got to know about this in like second year-ish. But like we were never dating. Like we didn't even meet like outside ever. We just texted. But anyways. It was never a label. It was never like anything like that. But it was like a situationship. I have talked about this before. But yeah. Anyways, moving on from my personal life, which really didn't need to be in this. But let's go. So basically, this woman has like a lot of experiences, which is okay. She been to NYU. I feel, that's like a party college after Arizona, of course. But I feel like if you had like those experiences, amazing, good for you. But saying like you feel nostalgic sometimes, I feel like that's crazy, okay? Because you can have experiences, you can be like a party girl in your past, you can like pop your pussy as she mentioned in her, TikTok clips or whatever. Like do whatever, but like that's in your past. Like saying you are nostalgic is kind of crazy to me because, as I said, like I don't want to know about someone's past because I don't want to live there because they don't live there. there anymore. But if you're going back and thinking missing, I feel like that's a problem. And yes, I understand like Akaash and Jasleen, they are like a modern couple. They make jokes. They are like really cool with each other, really open with each other. They do not, like they're like modern couple. I do not relate to that, but like they are modern couple. And like when the Gaines guy comes in, I feel like he's like a red pill guy, okay? And like he says like really idiotic shit sometimes. But with this, I feel like, yeah, why would you, like, because Akaash says like, I have only been with one person and that's my wife and I'm really happy with it. But like for some people, that's like, that's, they feel content with one person. Like for me, I was very content with my one boyfriend, but he had like previous relationships and previous experiences, which is okay. Like I don't feel like our relationship was any less than because of those things, like there could be like 100 problems, which there were not, but I'm just saying there could be 100 problems, but I don't think body count and like their past should be one, and like again, past is past, and just because you decided to be with one person and someone decided to explore and then decide to be with you, which I feel like is better because like they have been around the block and then they're like, no, you are the best among them. So I feel like that's better. But I also feel like if you don't explore, then you'll always be like, what if? I don't know. Everyone has their personal choices, and I think it's an individual thing to choose. To me, like saying you miss it or you're nostalgic, when you're talking about it, I understand like you're in the moment, you're talking about it passionately, like this happened and then I feel about this thing, blah blah blah. I understand that. It's a podcast. I completely understand that. I am not from 18th century. I am from this century. I understand. But when you say I'm nostalgic, I feel like that's not it. And like thinking about doing orgies right now when you're married, I don't know if they have an open marriage, or I don't think they have. If Akaash is okay with it, or if it's just a joke, I don't know about these things. But I don't agree. Like if my partner committed, like if I'm married and I'm like fully committed and he's like talking about doing orgies on the side, I'm like, divorce papers, call the lawyer right now, okay? Because I am not about that life. I will not be okay with those things. Maybe Akaash is okay. I don't know what their relationship is like. But like having orgies, being nostalgic about your party girl days where you fucked around, which you say openly, it's fine. But being nostalgic is crazy. Yes, the whole podcast is about them, like main characters talking about relationships, talking about sex lives, talking about their feelings. I understand, like you have to mention these things. I completely understand, but to this extent I don't think it's needed. Like my past, I spoke in this video, didn't need to be in this. Like like sometimes when we're talking, it flows, I understand, but like we kind of need to be mindful about certain things, because it can hurt your husband, it can hurt your audience, it can hurt Myron. And like she was getting backlash about it, so she made a TikTok and she was very unapologetic about her saying like she's nostalgic, or she said that this is my life, this is what it is, and Akaash is okay with it and whatever. Like we don't need to care about that. And I feel like, okay, partly I agree with her, because it's not my marriage, it's not my husband, it's not my wife. They are not doing any. One second. I was saying it's not my life, but when you put it out there, people have opinions. Like I have opinions, and you will get backlash when people don't agree with you. Yeah, some people are saying like her entire personality is like talking about sex and like talking about a relationship and talking about herself because main character, whatever. So she will talk about these things. This is like in the description of their podcast. It's fine. I also think like, yeah, maybe do that, but also know your audience, because at the end of the day, it's not your podcast, it's your audience. Like you will talk about what they want you to talk about, otherwise it's not gonna get monetized on a level where you want it to be monetized. I apologize for that, but I can't. It's fun. People calling Akaash like soft or like weak or like all of those things, I feel like why do you need to put a man down or a woman up or a woman down to put a man up? I don't understand. Why do we need to do these things? It's their marriage, it works in their marriage. It doesn't work in your marriage, it doesn't work in your life. You don't have to replicate it in your life. You know what I mean? Calling him like soft, weak is just nonsense to me, because I feel it's his wife, but at the end of the day, Jasleen has her own personality. She's an individual person, and it's okay. Like he cannot control every bit of her life, and maybe they have a very healthy relationship and she's playing a character online. You don't know these things, and calling someone weak and soft just because like they are like still siding with their wife is crazy. We need to stop policing men and women about their lives, like how to live their lives, if they're evolved enough, if they're doing too much, if this is not okay. I feel like stop policing them. Yes, like, two consenting adults can not always decide things for themselves. Like, someone mentioned like cannibalism and all of those things. That's true. But in most cases, two consenting adults can decide what's right for them and what's wrong for them. You know what I mean? And calling him weak and policing him like, hey, you should do this and you should do that. It's like more strain on the man's mental health, you know what I mean? And I think this is just a character they're playing because you have to be a little interesting online, especially if you're a podcaster. Otherwise, who's gonna listen to you? Nobody's listening to me. I have to play a character as well, you know what I mean? And like some people I saw were debating if this is a feminist thing or if it's not. I feel it's an individual thing. I think she comes from a different culture. She comes from a different country. She comes from all of those things. Even if she is Indian, she is living in America. She's like, their culture is very different than ours, which is okay. But I don't think it's like feminism has anything to do with it. I just feel like they're both privileged people and they're talking openly about their lives. Akash is also talking about their personal life, but it's only with one person, whereas Jasleen is talking about a lot more because she has a lot more experiences, which is also okay. I feel like it's their life. And like just the red pill theory, like don't do this because your man needs to be this way and your woman, who decides that? Like I don't have I personally have yet to see any red pill list or whatever it's called in a successful marriage, in a successful life, in a successful happy healthy relationship, you know what I mean? Yes, honey. So I just feel like it is what it is. And do I agree with her sentiments? No, but it's not my choices or it's not my life to agree with her or not. It's just, I'm talking about it since it's a public knowledge. Anyway, you tell me what are your thoughts. We can discuss. And if you're gonna talk about bodycon obsession, I am not with you. Okay, as I said in my video and mentioned my entire past with you. So I'm not about that life. Yeah, you want to give it to me? Thank you. Okay, I need to go. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe. Bye.